One of the questions I get so often on this channel is, how do I make money off my art? Now, before I can answer that, I have a few things to consider. One, why is that so important? And two, maybe that's not the thing you should be focusing on right now. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. And in doing so, sometimes the goal is to try to make money off of these things. Sometimes we do it as a hobby, sometimes we do it for fun, and sometimes, like I said, we want to do that professionally. But I think a lot of people, especially artists that are just starting off, are putting way too much pressure on themselves to make money off their artwork, because a lot of that stuff really comes in due time, and there's a lot of things we need to focus on before we're even starting to consider, how to make a living off of this. And to be honest, making money off of your artwork isn't really the only or even the most important metric that determines if your artwork is valid, if it's any good, or if it's at a professional level. I know a lot of artists far better than me that aren't making money off of their artwork. So I really want to change this mindset on how much importance we are putting on charging for our artwork, making money off of our artwork, and all this stuff, because in the beginning, I don't think that's the most important thing we need to focus on. And I think it could be detrimental in a lot of ways. So yeah, I want to talk about this. We'll do some artwork, and we'll dive a little deeper into what I'm talking about here.
So there's this idea, this mindset, especially from a lot of beginning artists, people are just starting off, that they need to make money off their art. How do I make money off my art? Is if that is going to sort of validate them as an artist. And like I said, I know people, amazing artists who, they aren't even doing this professionally, but there's no way that you would say that they're not an artist. Now, I understand, there's a goal. I mean, this was my goal too, and I'm definitely guilty of this. When I was first starting off, that was my thing. I'm going to school. I gotta make money doing this. But there's a lot more to think about, especially in the beginning. And most of the best work that I do is work that I did for myself, that I didn't, I basically did that for free. I wasn't getting paid to do it, and that's really my best work. So that's not always the only indicator of what makes you a good artist, if you're getting paid to do your artwork. And obviously that's the goal, and I understand that, but I think maybe we're focusing on that too quickly right out of the gate. What I would suggest that you do is, start working on your own work on your own time, and then share that stuff out there, and you're going to start getting better. It's going to, this is the type of work that people are going to notice, because it's kind of work that you're going to have a passion for, and you're going to start to level up, and people are going to start to come to you, and that's all going to happen in due time. What you don't want to do, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you need to sell your artwork or your creative services to get by. The position you want to be in is where that you can afford to turn away work. And a lot of times what that's going to be is you have a day job, and it doesn't have to be a creative job. Just you have a day job that's going to pay your bills, and then on the side you're going to want to really work on honing your craft and getting that stuff better. Because otherwise you're going to just take on any project that comes your way. And you're probably, you're probably not going to be charging enough. You're going to be, working with probably not the best clients, people that are going to sort of expect the moon for paying you very little. And that's kind of a weird phenomenon. And I don't know if there's a term for that. I know, with the Dunning-Kruger effect is kind of where people that know the least kind of think that they know the most. But I'm curious if anyone's coined sort of a term for this idea that people that want the most expect to pay the least. If that isn't, maybe I should try to figure out something like that. If you know that, let me know in the comments section. Yeah, and it's these beginning art jobs that everyone is just so focused on getting that really aren't that great. And it might be better if it's possible just to skip those kind of jobs altogether and kind of just, get by if you've got the day job, paying your way, work on that, focus on your own stuff. And then, people are going to start coming to you with these better jobs, doing the kind of work that you want to do, because in the beginning, like I said, you're working for clients that aren't the best clients. You're probably putting in way more time than you need, because you probably are still sort of getting the feel for everything and learning everything, and they just don't pay well. So, work on your own stuff, because there is this myth that you have to do paid work to get additional paid work, and that's really not the case. I've never had anyone come to me and said, well, I'm thinking about hiring you, but I don't know, have you worked for anyone else professionally? Can I see a receipt or anything like that? No, that doesn't happen. They look at your work, and if they like your work, then they're going to want to hire you to do similar work. So, there are people that, you'll see on a lot of websites, they'll put their client list and everything, and I'm definitely not opposed to that, and that can be impressive. I mean, if you've got some really high-profile clients, you can put those on there, but that's not necessary. I've worked with a number of high-profile clients, but I just don't really list them on my website, because some of the work that I've done for those are using their own characters, or it's just not really the work that I'm trying to get, or just that wasn't like a full project, or I wasn't really developing a particular character or something unique for them. It was kind of just working on their own type of thing. So I don't always mention that, but I've worked for Warner Brothers, Nickelodeon, Viacom, Children's Television Workshop, AAA, Denny's, a lot of different companies like that. But I just don't really list those on my website. So, and maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. But the point is that that's really not I don't think that's as important as a lot of people think it is. Because when it comes down to it, the thing most people are concerned about is how good your art is. And, a lot of the time you spent working for projects for clients, it's not always your best work, because, there's certain restrictions involved. You're trying to cater your work for a certain brand or whatever, and that doesn't always translate the best way. It can. I mean, you can get some nice projects, but it's really no difference than working on stuff that you like, or even you don't even have to work for, like, if you want to do work for whatever, Apple, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, whatever, you could just go ahead and come up with a concept for Coca-Cola, and it doesn't have to be an official thing. I mean, don't lie and say that you did it for Coca-Cola if you didn't, but just say, this is a concept I designed for Coke, and this is kind of what I think their thing is, and or what direction they should go, or a product that would work for them. And who knows, that might even get the interest of the clients you want to work for, and it's going to be kind of more on your terms. So that's something to consider. But the road, the thing that's really important to just understand is that the road to being a professional artist is a marathon. It's not a sprint, and we don't have to. I don't think it's so important that we worry right out the gate on getting paid for our artwork right away. Let's just focus on kind of honing that craft and doing the kind of work that we want to do, and hopefully circumvent all these really poor projects that we've all done in the beginning. And some of that is a learning process, and there's something to be said by that as well. And in the beginning, you're just not going to be paid a lot anyway, and it's going to probably take you a lot longer than it normally would, when you're just starting off and you're kind of learning and everything. But, and I mean, really, you're gonna you might be getting paid like maybe half of minimum wage when you think how long it's taking you to do these projects, and it's just you see this all the time with like the comic book industry and these really abysmal page rates, and the amount of time that it takes to do a really great comic book page. For some client, I mean, it's peanuts when if you just work on your own project, you're going to be a lot happier, because this comparison between these low-paying jobs and just, the amount of money that you're making, it's just, compared to even working for free. I mean, it's so little. You know, it's not even hardly even quantifiable. But if it's really that important to you to validate yourself as an artist by having some sort of kind of monetary transaction, then maybe try to go about it differently. Like I said, there is something to be said for working with clients and learning sort of that client relationship and how that all plays out and everything, and how to please clients, how to meet deadlines, which you don't always necessarily get if you're doing stuff for yourself. So there is some there is something to be said for that. But why not try to kind of do it on your own terms? Maybe you've got a friend that you want to help out or whatever, and then you could just go to them and say, look, I see what you're trying to do here. I could help you out. I'd like to help you out. Really all I would need is just some money for my supplies, which then you sort of get that monetary transaction, so you feel like you're getting paid, but in the end you're kind of really just doing it as a favor. But you want to stipulate, you want to say, so I'll do this for you, if you pay for my supplies, it's not going to really cost you anything, but I'm willing to do this, but I have to have sort of creative control, and I've really got a good idea, and kind of spell out what you're thinking about so they'll know that they're comfortable with it and everything. Let me do this for you, and you can give me whatever feedback you want, but at the end of the day, I'd like to make the final decision. But then you've got your feedback, you've got that kind of working relationship, you're learning how to work with clients, but it's not somebody that's come to you and said, hey, can you do this logo for my company that does X, and it's really not something you want to do. You're the one kind of in charge, you're the one kind of going, and you're helping maybe somebody out, and it's got to be something that you want to do, that you're sort of you've got some stakes in, that you really want to do. Like right now I'm helping my son, who's developing this game system and everything. It's kind of a cool project. I'm not going to make any money off of it, but I'm finding ways so that it can benefit me. I'm designing some of these characters for his game, and in turn, I'm putting them on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'm using them as content and everything. So, that's something that, and obviously I want to see my son succeed with this thing, so I'm willing to help him out. And it's cool stuff for me because I enjoy doing these character designs, and I'm the one that approached him and said that, yeah, I can help you out with this. He didn't come to me and said, hey, can you do this for free? Although he might, because he's my son. So, but a situation like that is something that it gives you a chance to work in this sort of client relationship and everything, and company client relationship, and sort of learn how to do that without just getting just totally screwed over and everything. So anyway, in summary, let's just not be so quick to worry about making money off of our art and how that validates our art, because it really doesn't. Those beginning projects, they're not the best. You can avoid doing some of those if and just work on your own stuff. Develop your own ideas, and then eventually, things are going to start happening, and people are going to start taking notice and everything, and then you're going to be in a little better position to get the kind of work that you want to do. But I guess the bottom line, once again, and I've said the bottom line with a couple different things, but the main thing that I want to say is this, again, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. Don't be so quick to go out there and just get horrible work just because it's paying work, even though it doesn't pay that well. Try to not make the same mistake I've done and a lot of other artists who are just starting out have done, and work on these just horrible projects. Just do the stuff you want to do, and eventually you're going to start. People are going to want to start to pay you to do that kind of thing. So keep that in mind.
All right, so there is some food for thought about the importance we place on earning money off of our artwork, charging for our artwork, being a, quote, professional artist. For a lot of people, the goal is to eventually start making money off of your artwork, but it doesn't have to happen right away. And there's a lot of other things that we should focus on before we're concerned, and that will all come in due time. And yeah, so anyway, that's all I got to say about that topic. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section. I will see you guys later. That is all.
comics? Then go to Serkworks.com and pick up the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's packed full of fonts, brushes, templates, and more. And best of all, it's totally free.